Ottawa's hot market is down. It's plunging. It's the gloom and doom. Often enough, that's kind of what you hear. Today, we're going to talk about how the media messes you up. We're going after them.
We're the new media.
We're the new media, yeah.
New world order.
The new world communication. You hear a lot of headlines, and people tend to just read the first line, and then they got their whole conclusion. Sales are down 35% year over year in real estate. Often enough, that's kind of what you hear.
Yeah.
Right? And then Rabieh believes everything.
Of course.
Right? He's like, oh my God!
If it's on the internet, it's true, guys. Everything.
Everything. Especially if CBC or...
100%.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man.
That's so funny you say that, because it is a Ponzi scheme. Everything in this economy is a Ponzi scheme.
And we're live.
Welcome back to another full episode of BAM.
Brokeassmillionaires.
Bam.
That was not rehearsed. I love it.
No, that was pretty good. Yeah, not bad.
Omar ruined it with his bam. Like, I don't know why he got in there with that.
Bam.
Supposed to yell.
BAM! Like ShamWow, remember? It's like, ShamWow! Today, we're going to talk about how the media messes you up. We're going after them. All right? We're
the new media.
We're the new media, yeah. The podcast, the Instagram, the socials,
New world order.
The new world communication. Sometimes it's a great source of information. Other times it's full of crap. Now, what we want to kind of debunk today is the fact that you hear a lot of headlines, and we're just going to take some examples and we're just going to debunk it. And there's pros and cons to those headlines, but they're supposed to make you react. And people tend to just read the first line, and then that's it. They're done. Right? And then they got their whole conclusion. Sales are down 35% year over year in real estate. Ottawa's hot market is down. It's plunging. It's the gloom and doom. Often enough, that's kind of what you hear.
Yeah.
Right? And then Rabieh believes everything.
Of course.
Right? He's
If
like,
it's-
oh my God!
If it's on the internet, it's true, guys. Everything.
Everything. Especially if CBC or...
100%.
Yeah, of course.
But I think it's a matter of like how they're presenting it, right? Like they don't give you context around. They say 35% down, but like what is 35%?
Yeah.
down?
And they use like certain words like sales are down 35%. For the longest time, everybody would come up to me and they'll say, "Holy crap, house prices went down 35%." I'm like, Wrong. Exactly.
Incorrect.
So explain to us, Elliott.
Okay, well, in that example specifically, we were looking, and that was an article that came out in February of this year. So when you hear a number like 35% down, A, they're not talking about the value of homes, and B, when they're talking about 35% down, they're talking about year over year. If you go a year before February of 2023, you're at the height of the market. That's when the market's going crazy. So you're comparing what's happening now to the absolute pinnacle
Peak
of the market.
Yeah, exactly. And that's volume of sales. So it's not like the dollar value of a sale. It is how many homes. So if last year, that week, you sold 13 houses on that street, this year, you sold 10.
Year. It's getting confusing for the viewers.
Well, it's same time the year before.
Yeah.
All right? They took the whole month, that technically.
But 35% is like 100,000 homes down to $65,000 homes.
Yeah, I just
not
said
$1,000, but like
I said
1,000
13
units.
So because I said 13 versus 10, you're now correcting me too. That has to be
No, but
I get it.
like
For total sale for the month.
Yeah.
Total sale for the month when they say February sales or whatnot. Now, the interesting part is that we looked up stats this morning to see where we're at. So September stats are out. October stats are still being generated. But in September, we were down, for residential side, we were down 17% year over year till now. Okay, so it's a still significant decrease. And that includes farms, that includes multi-residential units, that includes condos, that includes everything. So 17%, and condos went down more. Like, what do you say? 24?
number of sales. It was like 20
as a percentage.
24% compared to the 17%.
Yeah, but then when you start looking at sales of the actual dollar value of the properties, you see that condos barely changed in price.
It was actually outperforming.
It's still
a negative.
In terms of a decline.
Yeah,
it's
still a negative, but it's declining less, even though number of actual sales was declining more.
But we were surprised to see that the number of condos has come down that much, like the number of sales. But our simple theory is, well, if you're buying $1 million house and now you could afford $800,000 house or $600,000, you're still in the residential world, right? You're not actually taking those guys out of the residential world. Whereas if you were at the 600K, then maybe now you're buying a condo, right?
You notice the trend? We've been talking about this on the podcast. Is how the little guy keeps just getting screwed over and over and over again.
And over.
Because the person who couldn't afford a big single home now can't even afford a townhouse. And now is getting the condos. Exactly what you guys are talking about.
So we did some calculations, okay? Do you know how much it's required to buy a 200K condo?
Well, I don't know, 50, 60K a year.
You're right, 60K if you include condo fees and whatnot. So, man, your salary can buy. This is assuming no debt.
Wow.
Or very, very, very little. So 60K, if you're putting 5% down, you could buy early 200s at today's stupid rates of like almost 6%.
And there's barely anything at that price point.
Yeah,
there isn't.
I mean, you can find them. It's just nobody wants those homes because
you want to go
you're gonna have to sink a bunch of extra money. Yeah,
or
you're sinking a lot of money into it.
Yeah, or mom and dad give you 200K, you go buy a 400K condo, but now the bank of mom and dad is fueling these purchases, right? It's a transfer of generation, which means that if your parents don't have that, which I didn't, I don't know about you guys.
I don't think that's a problem. Like, definitely, if your parents can help you on your first one,
okay,
like,
for sure,
100% take advantage of that, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
for the people that don't have it,
that's how
difficult it is to get in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think people just gotta have a bunch of roommates now. Buy a house together, a bunch of people together.
House hack.
Well, I feel like people. What I've seen too is people who are like, will get together with a group of friends. Be like, all right, let's all set aside X amount of dollars a month, and then they'll all accumulate a down payment together and just buy up their first house together.
There we go.
And that's what people are doing now, because no one individual and even couples like can't afford to go out and buy a house on their own. So
even better if you can apply that into like a multifamily,
and that's
so you have your own units and that kind of thing.
The article I read, that was kind of their plan. That's why they were a group of them, so they lived in it, and then they were just trying to accumulate wealth together. And
so that's
a good group of friends who were like really close to each other, and
that makes sense to me.
Like, if it allows you to actually get into the market and do it, then fine.
Why not?
Okay, but that segue then is the rates keep going up. Right, we are seeing, good economical output still, some negative stuff, but we're still seeing a decrease in economical output and potential talk about recession. People are still trying to house hack. Should they buy or should they wait?
I think it's situational. If you are in the position of just buying, like your only consideration right now is buying, I would say that doing that sooner than later would be a good idea. However, if you are someone who's looking to sell, then potentially we're having a different conversation.
Could I chime in on this?
Yeah.
Just a different perspective of it, which I got what you're saying, because you don't want to sell because you're worried you're not going to make as much as you can right now with the market the way it is. But if we wait and you sell at a higher price, you're buying at a higher price. So isn't it all not relative?
Yeah, but timing wise, right? Like, we don't know what exactly is gonna happen, right? So if we're in a position, because things are taking longer to sell now, right?
Yeah.
What was the average days on market? 44 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Between 40 and 45, somewhere in there. And in reality, I'm seeing, like, if you don't have like the nice property that's priced very well, it's taking longer than that. It's taking, it could be up to 60 days or, potentially even longer. Who knows what's happening right now, right? Because we're also going into winter, or we're in fall right now. But when winter comes,
is coming.
Winter is going to be a lot slower as well, right? So by the time you actually get that sold, find out what the sale price is. Potentially, if the rates even creep down a little bit on the fixed side, the spring, you end up buying early spring, and potentially you're actually paying a higher price at that point.
Yeah, like the ideal situation now is that somebody owns a house, they don't sell it till maybe a year from now or something, or 6 months, and they're able to buy now. That'd be a great situation. But then if you could do that, then why are you even selling in 6 months?
To begin with,
Right? So it begs the question. We've agreed that buying now is good. Should you ever sell? That's a philosophical question. But if you have to sell, I would say, do them both in the same time.
Yeah.
So you could take advantage of the market in the same time. If you could delay it, sure. But
if you need the funds from the sale to buy,
exactly.
It gets tough because the market changes quickly. We've seen that happen multiple times this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been changing. Okay, so I kind of want to just change gears a little bit and talk about immigration. Okay, it's a big headline that keeps popping up.
Stop bringing them in.
That's what they keep saying, right? Why? Because it's making the housing more unaffordable. Can I say that? More unaffordable. Okay. So we want to debunk a couple things here. Okay, so one, the more population that you bring in, yes, it's going to put more stress on the housing market. That's true. But why are we bringing people into the country? Like, why?
Something I learned recently, actually.
Oh, well, please enlighten us.
I mean, you taught me the ways.
I'm such a wise man.
There is actually a big benefit to bringing in immigrants into the country because it has to do with your retirement.
Yep.
CPP, what I've found out, uses current people that are paying into it. They're using that money to actually pay the people that are on pension currently.
Yep. It's called the pay-as-you-go system.
Yeah.
Or pay-as-you-grow.
The problem with that is that you have more and more people that are going to eventually get to the pension stage, which means you need more and more people to work.
Yeah.
Which means you need more and more people to, so it's an ongoing cycle where you just need more and more and more and more people.
It's a Ponzi scheme, yeah.
It's fucking crazy, man.
That's so funny you say that because it is a Ponzi scheme. Everything in this economy is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
But it's not a Ponzi scheme from a negative standpoint. It's just
how it is.
Yeah. You need to feed it in. And if you don't interact as an economy, as in there's a buy, sell, then there's no taxes and there's no services, right? So we need immigrants to come in, and as a result, for a short period of time, until
hopefully.
What the hope is by the government is immigration will bump up population numbers. Those people will start to work and get into the economy. They'll take on different types of jobs that are required, whether it's trades or highly skilled, whatever. So you have different types. And as that happens, there's a need for more construction. So then more construction companies hire people. There's an abundance of employees now. If there's an abundance of employees, they'll start working in those fields to create more housing. At one point, we will overbuild. And if we overbuild, then we'll seek affordability.
But I feel like that's kind of a best case scenario.
Best case.
That's everything that you're kind of painting. Perfectly. That's everything exactly. Not having people coming in and taking advantage of the system and the way it works.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the issue is that people don't want them bringing in immigrants because they don't want them bringing in people who are going to suck us dry of our money.
I know, but that's a false mentality because, well, first of all, I don't know about you guys, but I'm an immigrant.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
It looks like you're an immigrant.
But the majority of immigrants come here and they try and make a good living for themselves, right? Yeah, in every single system, you're gonna have people that try to fuck it over, right? Like it just
listen. You have people that are born here that are fucking the system.
No, 100%. I don't. But I'm just trying to give light to another angle of what people are thinking, right?
No,
regardless of what my views are. I'm not saying those are my views, yes or no. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Rabieh hates the immigrant.
He thinks you're gonna come here and take your job.
Come get him.
Take my job.
You guys want to come work for Omar? By all means.
Clip it.
No, so immigration comes in and they start paying taxes because they're working and they're feeding into the economy and all that stuff. that feeds into the CPP. The CPP model is that we need to get, contributions from everybody so then we could pay the elderly. But because of unaffordability right now, some elderly keep working, right? Because they can't afford it. Like, think about it. What does CPP really pay you? If you're in a couple, I think it's like $600 or $700 each, right? And assuming you've contributed, and then they add like OAS and they add stuff like that. Like, we keep talking about unaffordability at the youth level, I would say. But they're working, right? These people are working. Now, the people that are not working and that have sacrificed their whole life to give back to the economy, those are the ones that are actually the most vulnerable, right? Because the young crowd can bunk together. They could like find different solutions. They could get a second job. But if you're retired and you don't have the health, and the society is supposed to support you, and that's what you've been promised all your life. Yeah. It's like, hey, put in your 35 years worth of work.
Yeah, that's why people go into those types of things, right? Yeah. Like, you work for the government because when you're done, you're going to be taken care of. Exactly.
But then now all of a sudden, you got this like fixed price, fixed pension, and you can't even survive. Yeah. That's the housing solutions, or that's the inflation conversation we should be having, is for them. And not for, it's not like it's for everybody, but it's centric around the most vulnerable, which is essentially your elderly that cannot work.
Yep.
Right?
I think it's also a matter of like, people expect a solution to happen like that. And where it's something that, like you said, at some point it will turn over to overbuilding. Like, it's something that takes time you implement something today. It might be a couple of years before any real feeling of change from your day to day, right?
More than a couple of years, man. It's going to take so much.
Yeah. Well, you're correcting years of problems. Yeah. So as many years as it took for these problems to occur and get to this point, it's probably going to take double that amount of time for the correction.
And weren't they saying at like the rate that we're building right now, by 2030, we're still 3.5 million units short?
Yeah, I think their best case scenario, their best case scenario was like 3.1, and their worst case was 3.5, something like that.
Damn.
I'm like, how's that? It's short. It's
and but somebody's gonna say, oh well, that's Canada wide, but that housing shortage is distributed not evenly across Canada, right? Like, I feel like it's more focused in the big cities, the Toronto, the Vancouver, the Ottawa, all these cities. There's kind of where it kind of gets spread amongst.
I haven't looked into the distribution, but that's a good hypothesis. That's a good word, guys. Hypothesis.
He just learned that the other day. Don't let him act.
Can you Google it?
I don't.
He's probably
hypothesis.
Yeah, it's not a type of animal. Those are called hippopotamus. Different ones. Yeah. So in the urban centers, it's more expensive, but also in the rural settings, you tend to have lower incomes or lots of farm activity or.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, if you have immigrants coming in, they're the ones that are looking for housing. Yeah. Not all of but I would say a large portion of people that are looking for housing are immigrants. People that are coming to Canada, I don't think they're coming to Canada and moving to like Cornwall. You know what I mean? I feel like they're going to
Calgary.
Yeah, the cities, the big cities. You know
Montreal. What I mean? Montreal. No, Montreal only if you speak French now with that new law, right?
What new law? I didn't hear about that one.
Bill, what was it, like 183 or something? They're really strict now on. I don't know if it.
What, I'm gonna get a fine for speaking English?
At the workplace, no, you could speak whatever.
Okay,
but at the workplace, all like communication must be in
Anglais.
And no, Francais. Yeah, so I think now that we talked about that, you're gonna have certain companies moving their headquarters out of Quebec because they don't have
really
the capacity.
Likes Quebec anyway, though. Like, seriously, it's cottage country. That's about it. You know, like
actually, did you see the premier came out and said if we exclude Montreal from the calculation and exclude Toronto, Quebec and Ontario are neck to neck.
In what?
Economical output.
See, that's that framing the statistics without giving context.
And I'm like, but Toronto also has like the majority of the population. So like So if you exclude that, you're like, yeah, if Ontario was only half the population, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but statistics are there to just kind of manipulate the situation. Did you actually know that 80% of statistics are made up?
Did you? Is this one of them? I was pretty sure it's 73%.
Oh, sorry. I was off by a few percent.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's 8%.
But you said how I got you thinking. That was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Manipulating the situation.
It's funny because I got a buddy that always goes, you know the 80-20 rule that everybody uses for everything? I'm like, yeah. He's like, who the fuck came up with that? Because it's so good. It's stuck. That's like probably the best propaganda, right? Everything's 80-20. Everything. Swimming.
It's
80-20.
kind of applicable though, no?
It is, but it just gives you like general sense. It's a rule of thumb. But nobody sat down and was like, the amount of energy that you're burning while swimming with your feet significantly reduces the output. Okay, I'm sure somebody did that. We should ask ChatGPT.
What a nerd.
Yeah.
He went so deep.
Because the coach told me that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a swimmer.
You're a swimming coach?
Are you a swimmer?
Yeah.
I'm a swimmer.
I've never seen him
You
walk.
want to hear
Buddy,
something funny, actually?
Buddy, Michael
This guy
Phelps
could barely
takes
swim in his own pool. He just put
Bro,
it in.
Michael Phelps takes tips from me.
You know this guy used to play hockey?
No, he didn't, bro.
I played hockey.
Did you?
Well, okay, so I got drafted into my high school league. Is it drafted? Is that correct? I don't even
You want to
know.
seem
but
important, sure.
I made the team.
People understand what you're trying to say, Omar.
Yeah,
Keep
man,
going.
I signed a contract.
Oh,
So
that's like those guys that almost made it
Oh
to the
my
end.
God,
Yeah.
man,
yeah, I made the high school team, and I show up on the ice. I'm trying to get the puck out of the corner, which is like bent. I don't even know how it's a corner, but that's what they call it. And then I hear this like shush, 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 shush. I'm going, what is that? As I look up, I see the coach jumps in, stops this other guy on my team that was about to like nail me against the board. Not the type that you like. And then the coach looks at me and says, get the fuck off the ice.
Looks at you.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's like, you're going to get hurt. Get off of here. How the hell did you even make it to the
Oh,
team?
you were looking like Bambi on
was
skates. I
not.
knew it. I knew it.
He was on the team for one practice.
That's
Yeah.
cap. CAP.
No, I almost got killed on the practice. And then the coach is like, get out. You're off the team. Like, I just bought the equipment. I'm like, come on, man. I was so happy.
Oh, fucking
God.
dead.
That was a lot of McDonald's hours to afford that equipment.
You worked at McDonald's
I worked
too?
at
You See, I'm
McDonald's.
learning so much about Omar right now.
I did paper routes. I started working since I was 12. Did you know that?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Started working when I was like 7 or 8.
You haven't even
whatever.
started working now, bro. Like, call this. Yeah, no, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
What, did you guys have like a shawarma place? And
we actually had a convenience store.
Did you see?
A quickie.
Yeah.
Oh man, so typical.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so funny.
So were you actually working the cash?
No, but I just did everything else.
Yeah, you mopped.
Stocking, mopping.
Oh, nice.
My parents used to send me out like when people would come and be suspicious of them stealing.
Yeah.
They'd send me out as like a 7-year-old to like walk the floor and keep an eye on them.
Secret
As
shopper.
if I was gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Like, he's probably like super awkward. He's like,
Rabieh, if you see it, you tackle him.
Oh my God.
Grab him by the leg, don't let
So
go.
funny.
oh, good. Okay. So you do have proper work ethic.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Just a little bit. Did you what how old were you when you started working? 29?
Yeah, that's when I
This
plan
young
on starting.
It's young generation for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, if you were to take a survey out of all your friends, okay,
Yeah.
like all 5.
I don't even have
I was gonna say you've got that many friends.
How many of them would have worked before the age of 16?
I don't know, like 2?
Really, yeah?
40%.
40%. Okay. For your generation, what would you say?
Oh man, worked before the age of 16? Almost everyone I know, man.
Same.
Like I'd probably say like 2 out of them didn't start working before the age of
Buddy,
16.
by 16, if you weren't a manager wherever you were, we would make fun of you.
Yeah.
We'd be like you're not even a drive-through at McDonald's yet, bro. Get out of here.
Who is you?
Yeah. Did you make employee of the month? I did, by the way.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he actually has it on his wall still at
I
home.
saw- that's my biggest
I don't want to
accomplishment.
know what you did to get that award because you definitely weren't working hard. That's
I
for
wa-
sure.
That was so good.
Still keeps those knee pads.
No. Oh my god.
All right, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, but that's what you need. You need different levels basically you need an abundance of employees to do all the types of jobs, to allow for inflation to go down, to be able to actually have construction prices that are reasonable, to allow for builders to build at a good price, so you could have homes at a decent price, so people could afford them. Inflation goes down, so the freaking rates go down, and therefore everybody's happy. That's the end, guys. That's the fucking conclusion.
Yeah.
And bring immigrants to help this whole thing out. But you need an abundance of employees.
Okay. That's not the current situation. So let's talk about rent. Because rent is kind of their alternative to buying if they can't qualify.
Yeah.
Prices are too high.
Yeah.
But then you go on the rental side. And what are the rental prices doing, Rabieh?
Too high.
Too high.
Rental prices are astronomical right now, actually.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. I feel like people can't even afford to rent at this point.
Yeah. But you know the gap between the high-ass interest cost and the rent is narrowing down significantly.
For sure.
Yeah. So at the beginning of this year, I would have said there's at least $1,000 between rent and somebody buying a house at that time with 20% down.
Yeah.
Like the cost of every day. Today, I would say we just did the math.
Yeah.
Because remember how
$5 million house.
No, not that one.
Oh.
Yeah. He was astonished. He's like, wait a minute, the down payment is $300,000?
No. So when I looked at the payment, it was like
$8,000.
Yeah, by 8. So like almost $9,000 a month. But then when we looked at what the down payment was, it was only like 10%. But like you have to put 20. So when you did that, it came down to like what, 7?
Yeah, but
on how much of a house?
1.5.
1.5. Okay.
So like that's an expensive house.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's $300K down payment. You know, it's a lot.
So we were doing the math on a $300,000 house. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Remember? Sorry, I was so lost in the sauce.
So we have a unit for sale. Okay, $300,000 gets you a 2-bedroom with $550 condo fees, $2,000 property taxes per year. And if you are making, I'd say 65 or so per year, $65,000 per year.
Rounded up 70.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's say around 70. But
60 gets you 200, right?
Yeah, I know. But 70, yeah. So 70 would be times 3.3, so it'd be a bit higher than. Anyways, so let's say you put a down payment of 30K or something, or even 5%. Your monthly cost with 5% down was like $2,600. We said, okay,
with property tax,
with property taxes,
condo fee.
Okay?
Yeah,
that property is rented at $1,900. So for the investor with 5% down, okay, I'm not saying that you buy a property with 5% down and you go rent it out. Okay, I'm not saying that. Okay, but what I'm saying is that for somebody that's looking at it from an investment standpoint and wants to live there versus rent that same unit, their cost is going to be $500 to $700 difference. And that's with the 5%. But if the person was putting 20% as an investor coming in, they'd be only down $150 or something like that.
Yeah.
And at these current rates at 6%.
So the difference between owning and renting, just to clarify, with 20% down
is like
$150 more to own it.
Correct.
Where you're actually getting appreciation, where you're actually as rents go up, you're going to be able to move out of that.
Well, next year is going to go up $50. So there we go. 150 went down to 100.
There you go.
Right.
But it's having that down payment.
But we're talking about 5% down payment on a $300K, so that's $15K.
Yeah.
Okay, there's different
it's
ways
actually
of
13,700.
No, 300,000 at 5%. You were trying to get a bargain on the place.
Oh yeah, I was negotiating before we.
He was like, "Oh, are you buying this place?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Why are you even negotiating with me for?" He's like,
"Well, for
he's
the
like,
right price."
Get it for $275. I'm like, put in an offer. He's like, "No, I'm not really." I'm like, "So why are we even having this conversation?"
Can't take this guy anywhere.
No, he's just wheeling and dealing for no reason. Like, and my client will look at all offers, but please,
you're pretty out of the ballpark.
Yeah, you're in the cornfield. So essentially, the only difference is $150. But man, earlier this year that wasn't the case, because rents went up hundreds of dollars. Like every month, I feel like if a client says, "Hey, rent this place out," like we're like, okay, well, let's do a market comparable, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, actually it's $100 more than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Or $200 more than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
You know, and we're doing this all the time, and I'm keep going like.
And you're thinking like people couldn't possibly pay that, and then you put it up, and you get inquiries every day about it.
Oh,
like people are,
yeah,
like constantly looking. I talked to a guy who was not working with a realtor to rent out his property. He's doing it like by himself, and I had clients that like liked it or whatever, so I called him to see if he would like cooperate and like pay me for
to work with you.
And I was telling him like I don't want to list it, like I just have clients that are interested. I'm not going to hold them back from doing it if you don't, but like this would kind of be how it would work if that was the case. And we ended up having like a half-hour conversation about what's going on, and he was telling me, he's like, man, I thought it would be slow, and I thought I was asking a lot of money.
This is the landlord telling
the landlord's telling me this, right? Like he said he owned like 5 properties, and he does them all himself. Like he has the time to do it, that kind of thing. He goes and basically does it himself with his wife or whatever, right? But I asked him, like, you know, like what are you asking for? And I had just sold a 2-bedroom version, rented a 2-bedroom version of what he was renting out, and he had a 3-bedroom version. Yeah. And I rented out the 2-bedroom version for $2,400. He was offering the 3-bedroom for $2,250.
Oh, he doesn't know.
And I'm like, man, you can't way more than that, you know? He's like, oh, really? What? I'm like, yeah, I just rented this $2,400. Like, but I gave him what he needed. He wasn't even cooperating with me, which was you know,
so you give him all
he's like,
advice.
yeah. Oh, and by the way, no, I'm not going to pay you.
Oh.
Like, okay, man. However, I would say we're friendly now.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're cool now?
I don't want to rent his property. I just want to help him buy the next investment property.
Oh, nice. Yeah, like I'm surprised because he's renting it for so low. Like he wouldn't have access to the data, I guess. He didn't know.
Well, I guess he was saying that he realized that he could put it for a bit more, but to get as many applicants as possible to get the choice. Yeah. That's what he wanted to do, but
to choose.
Yeah, but a higher price point would normally give you a better applicant.
Yeah, like he could have done $2,350 and still had like a similar result, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that also like having it a bit higher disqualifies the not serious people in a way, because like they're gonna look at it and be like, oh, that's too much, like I'm not paying that, so then like don't even waste my time, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas
if you put it cheap, yes, you get more, but some of that more is people that are just wasting your fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, how you feel about the guys that, like, so, okay, this is a new unit because I guess somebody left that place and went somewhere else, either bought a place or rented something else or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that property's on rotation now.
Yeah.
And that property feeds into the overall market. So there's one more listing on the market, right? But you have people that are in the same unit for a very, very long time. Yeah. And after a while, what happens is you can't get anything cheaper than what you already have for that quality.
Yeah. You'd be subject some people are out here paying for $900, $950 a month.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
For like a 3-bedroom because they've been in there so long.
Forever, yeah.
That's crazy.
But what happens? Like, think about
so it actually
like put it together, right?
So it makes rentals more expensive overall
by hoarding
the supply.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's not enough units. You have all these people looking to rent, but majority of the rental units out there, like properties that are owned by landlords that are using them as rental, I would say majority of them are already taken, and because of regulation and everything that goes on in the landlord tenant board, like the people aren't moving, so units aren't actually circulating.
Yeah.
But if there was a way that like everybody was moving every couple years, or rent control wasn't a thing, I don't know what the actual solution is, but if rental units were actually like going around to the public more often, I think that the average price of rent may come down a little bit. Yeah. And if it doesn't, it will be distributed more evenly across the population.
For everybody. So what Elliott is saying is basically, like, correct me if I'm wrong with your philosophy, with his hypothesis. But basically what he's saying is instead of only having 10 units coming up this year for rent, there might be like 20. And as a result, there might be a choice, more of a choice. Even though it's the same people going around, there's more of a choice. But because everybody's now listing at slightly like the average price, let's say, you don't have the $3,000 and the $1,000, but you have a bunch of $2,000.
It tightens the spread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, where I was going to add to it from like my philosophy is, it's better for the government to have everybody or a lot of people at $2,000, like the average lower base rent, let's say, than the $3,000 in this example, and subsidize via rent control subsidies, like based on income, subsidize the people that require from 2,000 to 1,000, rather than trying to come up with a manipulation of the market to get everybody down to 2,000, to 1,000. Instead of manipulating the market, just subsidize, use tax dollars in the most efficient manner. And by doing that, you have a rent that is geared to income. And we have those solutions already in place, but we're not using them as efficiently. Did you know that? Go ahead.
No, I'm just smiling because everything you're bringing up right now is like in like the perfect world.
You're a perfect world.
I know I am, but not everyone can be me. But seriously, it's like it's in a perfect.
But why? Because we do have those policies in place now. We do have rent geared income right now.
People aren't taking advantage of it. Maybe people don't know about it. Maybe it's not being implemented properly.
What I'm saying
maybe
is,
the criteria to qualify for them is not allowing people to take advantage of it. I mean, it could be a number of things.
Yeah, like I know there's a huge wait list, first of all, in the city of Ottawa. It's managed by, most of the time, by the city. But what I'm saying is that's a policy that we should actually grow.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, oh, we're going to give $100,000 per unit to the landlord. Well, take that $100K and now you could spread it over, how many people per year, right? Let's say you're going to give them a subsidy of $10,000 per year. Okay. Well, that's a shitload of people that you could help per like not just one unit. Now it's a bunch of people that you could help per year, right? And then on top of that, you could work with these people to elevate them from lower incomes to slightly higher, and thus removing them from the subsidy, and somebody else can take their place. But if you put somebody in a affordable unit that is governed by a co-op or a city or something like that, some sort of social housing, they have no incentive to leave.
Yeah.
Right? They have we have to incentivize people to do the actions that you want.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
And I think
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what you're saying.
I feel like you are. And this is a podcast, and I'm gonna say whatever. I'm gonna yell. And we're gonna go viral. That's how they do it. Right?
We might have to take a break.
That's how they do it. It's true.
In the real world, though, fuck, I'm working on pronunciation. All right, I'm gonna go speech therapy or something, man.
Just therapy, I think.
The thing is, yeah, that too.
You just start with that.
I think that no matter what you put into play, there's always going to be people that are going to try and take advantage of it, and they're not going to follow it to the T, which what we're saying,
yes,
perfect world, everybody cooperates with what's happening. I think that's what Rabieh was saying.
Okay, but I think
Omar just wants to yell at me.
He wants you to
I
feel
do.
Get enough of this at home, Omar. I don't need to hear.
Okay, but think about it, Rabieh. Okay, because you're opposing me. What was my point? Fuck.
The point is, Omar's a dictator. He doesn't want anyone to disagree with him. God forbid I should have an opinion or a different perspective.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right. So, CMHC came out, said 94% of rental units across Canada are owned by private landlords. 4% was city government-owned properties, and 1% was the remaining. So, co-ops and stuff like that. Now, 94%. So it means that if those units are not already affordable, there's no way for somebody that's looking for affordability to get into any of these units. It's impossible. What I'm saying with the rent geared to income, is that now Jacob can decide that he wants to live in this place or that place. And if the government approves him, that unit can now go towards Jacob. It's a good unit for him and his family and like all 4 kids, and close to the schools,
You have kids
close
now,
to
Jacob?
everything.
Damn.
And then all of a sudden now Jacob can go there. The landlord is satisfied. He gets, or she gets, the market rent. Jacob pays what he could afford, and the government caps the difference. That's what I love about that. And Jacob could go to a different spot depending on his job, depending on whatever, which means that Jacob could now move up to different types of positions and learn and get better experiences and get better promotions. And as a result, Jacob will no longer require the subsidy. But if you said, Jacob, you got to stay in this one unit because that's the only one that you could afford and you could never move, because if you move, you'll lose it, then Jacob is not going to take the job across town because it's going to cost him too much to go there, and he's not going to be incentivized to do it. That's what I'm saying, Rabieh.
I get what you're saying.
Passionate, man.
I understand. I'm just saying it's not a perfect
Poor
world.
Jacob.
And like Jacob's all right, okay? Jacob is doing just fine.
He's so tight right now that he's down to the wire. You know what I mean?
Shout out Down to the Wire podcast.
Down to the Wire studio.
Yeah.
But just like what Elliott's saying, if in a perfect world, yeah, it's gonna work like that. But so many people are gonna take advantage of the system and manipulate it like they already do. That's all we're trying to say. We're not saying that you're wrong, Omar.
Okay.
You're right. Everything you say is right.
All right.
I think that trying to implement something like that is kind of worth the risk, though, because at the end of the day, people are taking advantage of it now. So, like, if you introduce
correct
the new way, of course, people are gonna do it. But
Elliott, I love it when
you guys
you're with
transpired.
me.
So
I love it. I love
they hung
this.
out. They hung out without me this morning. I was busy working.
he was invited,
and they were hanging out.
I put in the
and
group chat that you're allowed to come. We invited you. To
I
our
had
cool
prior meetings set up,
prior
Omar.
engagements. Yeah.
Someone's got to make money while you guys are hanging out eating breakfast sandwiches.
Oh yeah,
we brought you one.
This is not priority for you, Rabieh. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I would just say yalla.
Someone's got to pay the fucking studio time to Jacob, bro.
Okay, so I wanna bring up another point.
I don't think he liked your point.
The world
You just had to switch it.
Did you know that the I hate this term, okay? First of all, I actually think it's a racist term, the developed world.
Okay.
It's like
You're so racist.
It's
Omar.
racist.
It's super racist if you think about it. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, our economies are stronger, but we're called the developed world. It's anyways. Second world, first world. Like, what the hell is that? Like, who says that shit? Like, that should be canceled, first of all. Anyways, Trudeau should go up and apologize.
Censorship. I love it.
So the G7s, okay, the world's strongest economic nations, essentially, are seeing a significant decline or projected decline in their population. So this is why what?
Nothing. Go,
What?
Keep going.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing. I'm not saying anything. I'm just smiling.
So the point I want to bring before you rudely interrupted me is we do need immigration, and we do need No, I lost my point. Fuck you all.
I didn't even say anything. I just
I
looked
don't
at
remember
Elliott.
what I wanted
Okay,
to say.
so we do need immigration.
No,
because
okay.
of the decline
Population
in
growth.
population in G7 nations. Continue your thought, please.
But there was like a way smarter point. Now I don't remember it. I just thought of it too. Like, it's brand new. Okay, let's just talk about investments. Okay, let's just switch gears now, because I'll get back to this later. Okay, let's just.
Okay, what happens when a country loses population? When population is declining?
Okay,
What was your point?
basically we're going to have a shift in power in the world order. So these known developed countries will no longer be the first world. It will switch. And United States.
That's a bold prediction.
Oh, it's heavy, bro.
I
It's
don't
heavy.
disagree though.
Yeah. And the nations that are going to outperform are going to be nations that have the highest level of birth rates. okay, or accept the highest level of immigrants with the highest level of birth rates. Know what I mean?
Yeah. Is that what we're doing right now?
That is exactly what we're doing. So I'm for Canada's immigration policies, even though it sounds like it's going to create a bottleneck economically or for the housing market, but it's going to actually alleviate.
Yeah, but it's a matter of pick your poison, man. Like, what as people that are living in Canada, right? It's your housing is going to be expensive, yes, but like, do you want the CPP? Do you like? Yeah. It's a give or take.
Do you want
right?
healthcare?
Yeah.
How do you think health is?
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like paying here to make sure that over here is working well for you, right?
Yeah, it's the you're choosing between the lesser evils, right?
Thank you. That was what the phrase I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what were you gonna say?
Nothing at all.
Jay, can you scroll that down? Oh yeah, okay. So that's an interesting point. What I want to get to was the
strategy.
Yeah, the strategy, exactly. So
the strategy.
Okay, you want to go for it?
I can if you'd like.
We're okay. So if Rabieh here, no, I'm gonna ask you a question.
You see that?
My bad.
Completely.
Do you want to go? Yeah, sure, I can. Okay,
yeah.
So told you guys, he's a dictator.
I was gonna ask you a question.
Emphasis on the dick.
Okay, go on.
Okay.
Sorry, I got offended too quick.
Let me just ask you a question.
Because you've been hanging out with Omar too much.
Oh shit.
If Rabieh wants to buy 2 houses, but he only has a small amount of money, okay, what is the best strategy for him in this market?
Okay. So,
are you okay with me asking you a question? Was that fine?
Can I answer?
I'll think about it.
I can talk now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Take advantage of
before. No. Hey, you're killing time, bro.
Take a quick break, I guess.
Got to stay hydrated out here.
Yeah.
So I think if you have a small amount of capital and you're trying to buy multiple properties, obviously intention being a landlord down the line, take advantage of things like being able to put less than 20% down. It will have to be your principal residence. So the way that would kind of work out and look, you can buy 1 principal residence per year. So you would put what you can. Like if you have 10%, put 10% down. Like the more you put down, the lower your payment will be. So it'll probably make more sense when you move on to your next one in terms of payment, cash flow. Like you're probably not going to be cash flow positive in the first couple years, but down the line, you will eventually get to the point of being cash flow positive kind of thing. So the strategy is take advantage of that, move into the property. Then when you've accumulated enough to go do that again on another property, you then take advantage of the same rule, buy a principal residence, you move into that, leaving behind you a trail of rentals.
Yeah. I think that's a really good strategy. And I don't know if I don't think the banks necessarily want you to know that strategy.
Sorry. I had to.
That means put your mouth on the microphone. Rabieh thinks is a this is like the
now
podcast. We have to fight after this.
See, I don't like having notes like this. It messes me up.
Because you're looking at it too much, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's just like we put this down. All I see is Ottawa home sales down 35%. But yeah.
Why are you trying to make Jacob feel like he's doing something wrong, bro?
Exactly. No. Thanks, Jacob. Don't worry.
It's his own problem. Don't worry about him, man.
Yeah. So if Rabieh wants to buy a house and he's got $25,000, you're saying put that $25,000, buy a $500,000 house, 5% down, live in it. In a year
you'll
from
need
now,
a bit more because there's closing costs and
you
know. So let's say you have 30,000, you could buy 500, $5K for closing costs.
And then so he lives in it for a year. But then in a year from now, his rent is not going to cover like $3,000 mortgage payments.
Correct.
So are you okay with being in a shortfall every month?
It's situational, but in Ottawa, yes.
Okay.
It's an equity play.
I think it's based on the person.
Yeah, like if they can float it, as long as they can float it, then it's fine.
Yeah. And
it's not the end of the world.
I would disagree. I would only put like the minimum down. If I know, if I know I'm buying another property, I'm only buying.
That is the minimum.
I know where you're going with this.
Well,
you essentially say put less money down.
Yeah.
Hold some back for contingencies, and then when you do have to rent it out in a year's time,
but
you've got that contingency to cover your shortfall.
I see.
Absolutely.
That's basically what he's
and
trying to say.
If you have a shortfall and it's a rental,
it's
a tax deduction.
Yeah, but
we just schooled you, Elliott.
Yeah, okay, but how are you going to qualify for the next mortgage?
Okay, that's a good point.
If you're,
but you think putting 5% versus 10% is going to make a world of a difference?
$200 could make a world of a difference.
I don't even think it's $200, man. I think it's
it probably wouldn't even be $200.
We're talking about $20,000 extra.
I thought you guys were realtors, not mortgage brokers.
Well, we're not. We're just like super smart.
We're jacks of all trades.
No, but I think that the difference between being $500 short and like $750 short, I think that's could be difference. Pretty detrimental to you, either in qualification or you're also then going to have to pay for the new mortgage on top of that being $750 in the whole.
Yeah, but you held back money to be ready to pay for that $750.
Yeah. Okay.
In my experience, like
it really depends, right?
Yeah, it's a numbers game at the end of the day, and making the calculations on each individual's situation at that time, what to have saved up, everything like that.
Yeah.
But you also hope that your salaries have increased, or the amount of money you're making has increased.
I think also
so that's also going to play a factor.
Yeah. For me, I think part of that play too is I would rather put the 10% down, because then you're closer to being in a position to pull equity from that property.
Look, you can, but then you said you only have a limited amount of money, so that means you're not buying property number 2. So is it better to be put 10%? Hope to get to 20%. That takes you, let's say, 5 years. Is it better to wait 5 years so you can start pulling cash out and buy property number 2 then? Or is it better to have like a higher payment now, and then in a year or 2 or 3 you buy the second property?
I think
and you
can
move
do
into
both.
that one.
I think you could do both, because
but you said you have a limited amount of money. How are you going to do both?
Less than 20%.
Yeah. Okay.
So what are you buying? If you're buying something more than $500K, you have to put 10% on the portion.
Above it. Yeah.
So,
but $1 million is still 7.5%. What I'm saying is, if I'm goal oriented to buy more than one property in my portfolio, and I'm going to move into these properties, I'm definitely going to do what Rabieh said and have a contingency on the side and build my down payment faster. It's better to have down payments than have no down payment and really low mortgage.
Okay.
Because it won't do anything, because it's the minimum requirement. You need cash, you need good credit, you need a good income. So if you don't have one of those, you're out of the game completely. If you have a few of those, or like it's subpar on some, it's going to be the lowest denominator, and maybe you could buy. You bought the $500K the first one, second time maybe you're buying $200K. I don't care what you're buying the second time. Now you got 2 properties that are likely both going to go up, and you're going to be better off by doing that than waiting 5 years and feeling good about your mortgage payments.
And if you can't handle the shortfall, you just sell one of the properties. Worst case scenario, if push really comes to shove.
Yeah, or get a second job.
Yeah,
like it doesn't come easy. At all. It's not made to be easy at all. So if you want to have more investments, you got to save more, you got to work harder, you got to be smarter, you got to be in it for the long run. If you just want to be like, oh, I'm buying real estate, everybody makes money off real estate. Yeah, but then you don't remember the first 5 years of those, right? You don't remember the pain. You don't remember how tight you were. But yeah, after a while, you can make money. Well, with every investment, you could do that, right?
Yeah. So anything that's going to make you money has risks, right? So being tight is not.
But I think real estate's probably the least risk.
Well,
it'll never go to zero.
It'll
never go to zero.
Like 0.
Yeah.
Like dollar value.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, unless you live in Florida and there's a hurricane like every other day. Fuck. You know their insurance premiums are like 2 to 3%.
Yeah, like my car payment or my car insurance.
Oh yeah, dude, next level. I think you're funding the insurance.
Literally, I'm actually holding up the insurance industry right now.
Hey everyone, has your car insurance gone up this year? It's Elliott's fault.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Can we skip it?
It's so bad that the Bank of Canada has him as an inflation line.
Yeah.
You know, that's a joke, by the way. It's not true.
Well, look it up and find out.
Look up his name. Yeah. No, that's I think that's the better strategy rather than putting all your money into one property. Leave some, so in the event that you want to buy, and most people do this naturally. Eh? Like they'll buy a house on their own. Nowadays that's hard, but let's say you buy a house on your own and then you meet somebody, you guys decide to move in together. Well, then now you have two incomes, so you decide to buy something else. Then you say, okay, well, I don't have that much equity in the first one. If I sell, it's not like worth it or whatever. I'm just gonna get what I got back or just a tad more. So then you just go, oh fuck it, just leave the property, let's rent it out, and then you go buy the next one. That's generally what happens with people that are open to the idea of having more than one property. And so with that same mentality, if you don't have a down payment, you could never have done that second round. So that's what I'm saying. Keep as much, like put the minimum down payment, whether it's for a lease or for a purchase of a home. Put the minimum down payment, and when you go rent it out or use it for business expense, it's going to be a tax deduction anyways. Nah, I mean,
yeah,
okay,
I agree. That's what I do.
Is there any points that you guys want to bring up? Other than the fact that Japanese population is heading down big time.
Water. Where did we get this guy from? Why do we work for him?
Oh, you don't know? I just have world knowledge.
You don't know?
That's not common knowledge.
Did you know Egyptians invented scissors? The ancient Egyptians, we invented everything. Italians probably tried to, and Greeks, they try to pretend like they invented scissors, but we invented scissors. It's like the biggest debate on YouTube right now.
Really?
Is that what you spend your time researching?
I'm just joking. Right now, this clip right here is going to be the biggest debate.
I don't even know what to say right now.
Yeah.
I'm honestly at a loss for words.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So thank you so much. Thank you again for tuning into BAM.
Brokeassmillionaires episode 4.
BAM.
I know, yeah.
Dunzo.
What's up?
Listen, guys, when are we actually releasing something?
After this episode.
Yeah, and how frequently can our viewers come back to see our next episode?
Good question, Rabieh and Nasrallah. How often do you want to do this?
Wow, I like when he says your full name, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
From now on, that's his full name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just based on how much of you I can handle, and at this point, like, I don't think I can handle very much.
So how often do you want to talk?
I don't want to see you ever
Once
again.
A quarter.
Once a quarter. Yeah.
If I never talk to you again, it wouldn't be too soon.
So are we doing this every 2 weeks, or you want to do this every month?
Let's do a poll for the viewers.
2 weeks.
You want to do every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So 2 releases a month.
I only get to talk to you guys once a month. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
You miss us, eh?
Something like that. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
do it.
Are we always going to do this setting, or you guys want to like switch it up as well?
Do it.
Let's do it.
Fuck around and
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah. Follow us for more. Are we gonna be here? Are we gonna be by the pool? I don't know. It's gonna be pretty cold. So
Well, we land on the moon. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so every 2 weeks, and most of our episodes will be about an hour long or so, and they'll feature us, and we'll always every now and then. Sorry, not always, but we're gonna have guests. So if you have particular types of guests that you want to see on the show, please let us know.
Right? In the comments below.
Meow, meow, meow.
All right,
Thanks,
good talk, guys. Thank you,
Good
Jacob.
talk.
We
Thank
love
you.
you.
Can't say that, but
Why?
Why can't you say that?
I don't love him.
Oh, shit.
I'm leaving.
I spoke for myself.
I'm leaving. Can't
Thank you.
handle this shit.
Dunzo.